you been in education now?
I've been in education 44 years.
44 years.
Yes, sir.
Has there been anything that you think has been more disruptive to learning and kids and behavior and mental health and social media?
No, I can't think of anything that has had a long-term effect than social media. And that really started with the iPhones, I'd say 2011, 2012, and it's just steadily seemed to get out of control.
Kurt Telford there is the principal at Charlotte Catholic High School, where at the start of this school year, he made a decision. They were going to ban the use of cell phones during school hours. No use between classes, no use during lunch. But the only exception is an emergency.
And it seemed if we're going to allow kids to use social media as part of the regular school day, we might be contributing to their poor health, their poor mental health. So we want to be a positive influence on kids, not a negative.
Tell me about the conversations you had leading into this and who were part of sort of the groups that had a say in how you were going to implement
Well,
this.
we didn't have a lot of conversations. We did with teachers and we did with administrators. We hinted to some parents this is where we were going. I think parents are all in favor. Kids, not so much, but again, although they are an important part of our community, we felt we had to make the decision and not put it to a vote or have students get their opinion on this. And I think if you talk to kids, most of them will say overall, it's been good.
We're going to hear from some of those students in just a moment, but we also wanted to hear from a teacher. Belinda Butler has been teaching English at Catholic for 10 years.
When you first heard they were going to ban cell phones here at the school, what did you think?
Well, I thought it was a good idea, but I also wondered, how is this going to go over with the kids? Right. I thought, how are you going to enforce that?
Yeah.
I had my doubts.
How did it go?
It's actually gone surprisingly well. I think for my part, I had a few students at the beginning that I had to confiscate their cell phones, but that's it. Just the first week. Everybody else has complied ever since. So,
what kind of change have we seen when it comes to kids, screen use, social media? What have you seen?
Everybody thought that cell phones and technology was going to allow, just sort of open the world to these kids and they were going to be just exploring and reading, et cetera, et cetera. Well, mainly it's used for social, like a youth culture thing, right? Social media is mostly how it's used, not so much for academic pursuits. So it's been a negative, I think, for all of us English teachers can agree with that.
Well, and doing what we're doing here, right? Talking face to face.
Right.
Did you see a decline in the way kids would even interact with each other?
Definitely. Inability to express themselves, inability to clearly and precisely use language, because they're just not talking as much. And that's a big change that I've seen in this year now. You know, you walk through the cafeteria, kids are having conversations, they're discussing things, you know, healthy debates are going on, and before, everyone was on a screen.
It is a noticeable, really visual difference, seeing people walking around with their heads up, no phone in their hand. So what do the kids think? Well, we sat down with 4 of them in the library, and you'll notice right there, not one phone on the table. Now, they'll tell you it was an adjustment. Some habits had to be broken.
What were some of the conversations like even in the hall that first day when they told you?
I mean, I remember everyone was very skeptical about it. I mean, it was definitely a hard change for some people, but I think as people started to get used to it, they were fine with it, and now it's like so easy.
Yeah. What's been the biggest adjustment to it?
Yeah, I would say it's not going on your phone at break and not going on your phone at lunch, which again, I find it's so much less like distracting, and like, again, you can have these conversations with your friends and like, you're just more like, you're in a better mindset.
I would say the hardest thing was figuring out where you're meeting with friends during break, because in the past, it's kind of like, oh, like I'll meet you in the library, I'll meet you in the cafeteria, and now it's like, okay, we have a designated spot, like we need to meet here.
We do worry about kids and mental health, and do you guys pay attention to those kinds of things? Because you do. You see reports like this, you see news articles all the time about kids and the stress, mental health. Is that something you worry about?
Mental health is a real issue, especially you know, big time in teenagers. And I think social media plays a huge part in that. You're kind of seeing what everybody else is doing, especially, you know, websites like Instagram and Snapchat. Nobody posts kind of the real parts of life. It's all about like kind of the good parts. We won a game Friday, like, you know, the ups of life, not really the day-to-day parts of life.
Yeah. Is there that fear of missing out, right? That you hear that a lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like that is maybe one of the biggest factors for social media these this.
How
Yeah.
stressful is that as a young person today?
I mean, it's pretty stressful because honestly, it's so easy to compare yourself. So I feel like social media definitely plays a factor in that. And I feel like even going back to the cell phone rule, like not being on your phone, it's less likely for me to like see that stuff, compare myself. So I can definitely say like my mental health and just like my overall general mood at school is definitely improved.
Tell me about the improved conversations that you're having with people.
I think all four of us can agree here. Like I enjoy talking to people and getting to know kind of the deeper parts of people. And like he's saying, like with social media, it's very surface level. It's very kind of what they do Friday, they play football, and it's nothing deeper than that.
I feel like we're just talking about like normal stuff, like day-to-day stuff, instead of like, oh, I saw this TikTok, or oh, I saw this, or did you see someone's Instagram post? So it's definitely more like meaningful conversation, and like honestly, like getting to know my friends on a deeper level that I'd never even experienced before.
Academically, do you think it's been helping?
Yeah, at least the students themselves are a lot more focused. I mean, I think, like you said, end of class, it's easy, especially in previous years, to pull out your phone and like, check what's going on. Now it's last 5 minutes you're using for homework, using for extra study time. Overall, just a better environment.
I mean, I would say just definitely more focused on school, gives you more time to prepare for the class. A lot like foreign language classes, like sometimes you have to, prepare like speaking Spanish or whether it's French.
I imagine you all have friends in other schools too, besides Charlotte Catholic.
Right.
What has been their reaction when you told them that we can't use our cell phones at all?
They're like, what? I was like, I mean, yeah, like I guess that was kind of my reaction when we first got sent the email, but I'm so thankful that we have that rule now.
I would say the biggest thing was like telling my grandparents or telling anybody that would reach out to me, because I would still get a text throughout the day, like, I'm in school right now.
Yeah.
I can't